Testing. Hey, we're live. Here we are. Welcome.
Hey, we are live.
Rick and Jeff Unfiltered show. The new
Yes.
March 1st edition. You ready? Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Ready?
Ready. I pledge allegiance, to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and
republic,
to the republic
for which
it stands,
one
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty, justice,
and
for
justice for all.
All right, hang on. I gotta. Here we go. Had my volume down. It's working now, though. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. It's a good day. It's Wednesday. February, March 1st. 1 March. Ready to take it? Are you ready? Getting the feedback of your iPad.
Let me turn that down then.
Yeah, you should.
Here, how's that? Better?
Better. Yep. So you gonna do any of your music or not?
Are you ready to rock?
Yes, let's hear it. We're a little off schedule tonight, folks. I don't hear anything.
All righty. There we go.
I heard none of your music.
Testing. Here we go.
Just so you know, no music was playing.
You couldn't hear my music?
Nope, your music did not play.
Well,
it was silent. Silence. So,
yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah, well,
I hear the music, and it's in the music input. I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know what's going on, brother.
So, what are we going to talk about first? So we're running a little late because I have this 4-letter word called a job. Got it? 4-letter word called a job.
Yeah. Let me try this. Can you hear me now?
I can totally hear you. It's a Joe Biden.
Okay, there we go. That's better. Now let me see if you can hear my music. Can you hear the music now? No?
No music.
Well, that's messed up.
Yep, it is. Make sure that your monitor's up and your mic is up and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
your music button is maxed out.
Something plugged in, and you're sounding better now, but you still can't hear my music, so I don't know what's going on with that.
All right, well, let's move on. Can we move on?
All right.
Can we play some music or?
No, let's go on. I was looking at the amendments. Are we on?
Oh,
we did the election of president, right?
Yes, we did.
So the next amendment is slavery and involuntary servitude. Okay.
Yep, and that's the 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment, yes, sir. 13th Amendment.
It is the 13th Amendment. Holy cow, I'm losing my mind here. So, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2 says, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So that was basically doing away with slavery right there.
Yep.
I would say. That must have been when that happened. It doesn't. Let's see.
That was 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States was proposed to the legislatures of the several states by the 38th Congress of the 31st day of January 1865 and was declared in proclamation of Secretary of State dated 18th of December 1865 to have been ratified by legislatures of 27 of the 36 states.
Right.
So what's interesting is they didn't get all the 36 states at the time.
No, I'm sure the southern states didn't want it to happen. But
Well, it says this
there
amendment
you
was
go.
subsequently ratified by Oregon on December 8th, 1865, California, December 19th, Florida, December 28th, Florida again ratified on June 9th, 1868. So 3 years later, upon its adoption to a new constitution, Iowa, January 15th, New Jersey, January 23rd, after rejecting the amendment on the March 16th, 1865. So January 23rd, 1866, New Jersey amended it after they rejected it first. Texas, February 18th, 1870. So that's a few years later. Delaware, February 12th, 1901, after been having rejected the amendment on February 8th, 1865. Kentucky, March 18th, 1976, after having
There you
rejected it on
go.
the so Kentucky waited until 1976, almost 111 years after the amendment was ratified by the other states of the United States.
Right.
It says the amendment was rejected by Mississippi and then ratified on December 4th, 1865, but then ratified on March 16th, 1995.
1995.
Wow,
Yep.
it remained unofficial until finally submitted to the Archivist of the United States in February 2013. So
Oh, wow.
the 13th Amendment was unofficial until probably it was the Mississippi ratifying it was unofficial, because all they need is 2/3 of the states to ratify the amendment. The amendment is law.
Right.
So there you go. So ratification was completed on December 6th, 1865. But then you had a couple states like Texas, 1870, Delaware, 1901, Kentucky, 1976, and Mississippi in 1995.
There you
Unbelievable.
go.
Simply unbelievable. So do we want to go on to
Simply
the
unbelievable.
14th Amendment? This is a big one.
Yeah, let's do the 14th Amendment. Yeah, it is a big
Wow.
one.
Oh, this might have
But-
something to do with things that we're talking about today. You want me
I
to
don't know.
read
What are we
section
talking
one?
about today? I have no idea. I'm just playing. I'm running by the seat of my pants here. You know, that's how I always do. I'm just kidding.
Things that are going
I'm
on
just-
today. How's that?
I know. I'm just.
So, Amendment 14, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. That's interesting.
There you
So
go.
it's interesting. It says Section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States. So this is, let's see, when was this?
Let's see. Info. Ratification 1868. July 9th, 1868.
Yeah, so that was a while ago.
Yep.
So again, I think this was one of those laws that was put into one of those amendments that was put into practice because a lot of southern states, and I'll say that with air quotes, did not want the black slaves, the children of the black slaves, to have the ability to become naturalized citizens, even though they were born in the United States. So that was still a process I think they were fighting. So you want to read Section 2, or you want me to read
They
Section
say
2?
born, yeah, but they say born or naturalized. What does naturalized mean?
So you can become a U.S. citizen through the process of immigration.
Okay, so okay. So if you come in and you go through the process, you become a citizen. Yeah. Okay, got it. All right. Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned. There we go. Among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole numbers of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at an election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of the state, or the members of the legislature thereof is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age, and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such a state. Well, evidently, if you're an Indian, you don't get to, because you're not taxed. It says not taxed,
Right.
Excluding Indians. I think that must have been changed by now, I would imagine. Yeah. What?
When did we have the women's suffrage? I'm trying to look ahead to see when. That's so. Basically, they're talking about men have the right to vote, but women don't, because it wasn't until the 19th Amendment where women had the right to vote. So that's
that was
very interesting. That's why
in
they're
1900s
talking
somewhere, right?
19th Amendment was
in suffrage rights.
4th of June, 1919.
1920.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says ratification was completed August 18th, 1920.
Yep.
Wow.
So it was proposed for legislation on the 66th Congress on the 4th of June, 1919. Yeah, so it's interesting. They're talking about the men and their ability to vote, and they're specifically saying that because they didn't want women to vote, apparently. So,
right.
And yet, our country has somehow changed over the last 100 years. I'm wondering.
So there's something too.
So we are
if we're going to have reparations against the slaves, shouldn't we have reparations for the women too?
Yep, we probably should.
Just a thought. Just a thought.
Might not want to start that idea out there too much. Just saying. It might not go over well. We have no listeners right now. We must have screwed it up. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Anyway,
here,
hopefully we'll get some listeners later. Nothing going on. So Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall be engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, but Congress may by vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. So did I jump ahead? I went to the wrong one, didn't I? I did.
No, you were reading the right one. No, you were reading the right one.
Was I?
Section 3 you were reading. Yeah, Section 3. So I'm just trying to understand. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil, military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress. So if you've previously taken an oath of Congress, you can't
but it goes on to say, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same. So anyone who's engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the oath of office that they took, or the Constitution of the United States, doesn't have the ability to hold office. This is what they're trying to get Trump on.
So that's why they want to get Trump, because if they're saying he started an insurrection, then he cannot run for president.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
it ain't working. Insurrectionist.
It ain't working, but whatever.
No, because he didn't.
Hey, but it also says, but Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. So
I'm assuming if the insurrection over a period of time is proven to be, hey, there's a reason for an insurrection. The insurrection is because the people in there were doing something illegal or wrong, not just that they thought differently, but they were doing something illegal or something like that. Then after the insurrection, the Congress come and say, well, you know what? We're going to vote on this because we think probably what that person did was the right thing to do. So
Right.
maybe that's why that's in there. I don't know that for sure, but that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's kind of like when
right.
the I think we're frozen. I'm looking at
Are we
the
frozen?
looking at the live chat. It says it's frozen. So
should we start again?
I don't know. Oh, there it goes. We're going. We're going again. So live chat is going.
Yep. I just put you guys suck up there. That came up.
Hey, there you go. So we do. Yeah. So so you want to read number 4 then?
Yeah, so number 4.
Section 4.
Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned, but neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or the emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. So they're saying they can pay people to stop an insurrection, but you can't pay someone to make an insurrection, I guess. But it did say something about slaves in there, and I thought we already got rid of slaves in the last amendment.
Well, that wasn't.
Or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave.
Right, there you go. So they're saying, well, you took my slaves away because you made it illegal, so therefore you should owe me money. We're gonna start an insurrection against the government because we don't like the fact that you took away my slaves.
Right.
So
yeah.
And then Section 5 it says the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So there you go. So they can basically create the enforcement of it. So I think that's what they're trying to do with January 6th. Let's keep all these people in prison for a year and not send them to trial and give them a speedy trial, like the Constitution says in another amendment. So maybe that's the issue. I don't know. So you want to read Amendment 15, or you want to stop for the night?
Let's do 15, since that is the rights of citizens to vote, and then we'll stop.
Yep.
I think.
So section 1, the right. Yeah, absolutely. So Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Basically, they're saying that all races, nationalities, colors, creeds have the right to vote, except for women, apparently.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as you're a man.
Yeah, as long as you're a man. We're working on it, ladies and gentlemen. We're working on it. We're going to get to the country that we want to do. Yeah, we're going to get to the country that we want to do.
Let's see when this one was enacted. This was enacted, let's see, ratification February 3rd, 1870. So it took them 50 more years to get the women's right to vote.
Right. Well, it said that it was proposed to the legislatures of the several states of the 40th Congress on this 26th of February, 1869, and was declared in proclamation of the Secretary of State dated March 30th, 1870. They have been ratified by the legislatures of 29 of the 37 states. Again, you didn't have a full ratification of all the states. You just had more than 2/3 of the states, 29 of 37. So interesting.
Yes.
The amendment was subsequently ratified by Texas, 1870, New Jersey, 1871, Delaware in 1901, Oregon in 1959, California in 1962. Holy crap. Kentucky in 1976. Tennessee, your great state of Tennessee didn't ratify this until 1997. Imagine that. So the amendment was approved by the governor of Maryland.
You got to wonder why it took so long for those places, I mean, what? This one's pretty simple. I understand the slave one because they didn't want the slaves because they had slaves. I mean, not that it was right, but I understand it. This one here, I don't understand. The right of citizens of the
but
United States to vote
you're
shall not
given
be denied or abridged.
you're giving the slaves the right to vote.
Account of there we go. Account of race, color, or previous. Okay,
Right.
there we go. So it goes back to
So
the slave
you
thing. So
you
same
used
thing.
to be a slave, but you're not anymore. But you still can't vote, which is like, wait a minute, what? So what this tells me, which is amazing about our society, is how we've grown and changed over the years. Right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we were a nation that had slaves, and we worked our way through eliminating slavery and freeing slaves and giving them the right to vote.
And,
Right?
and by the way, every nation in the world had slaves.
Yes, and
Every
there
one
are
of them.
still nations today that have slaves.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
it's like, I don't know, whatever. So I
Yeah,
heard an
whatever.
interesting story talking about reparations, right? And the guy was like, "Okay, so you want to talk about reparations? Then why don't we go back to the slave traders of Africa who were capturing the black
Yes.
people and imprisoning the black people, and then bring them to the boats to be sold as slaves to the Europeans in Africa? Why don't we go back to those people
Yeah.
and say, oh, by the way, those are mostly
Absolutely.
black people that were enslaving black people." So
Almost completely black people that
yeah.
were doing that then. Yeah. So
Anyway, but I
section 2
digress.
of this just
Go ahead.
says that Congress has the right to enforce this. Hang on. There we are. Where are we at here?
Amendment 15, Section
Okay,
2.
go ahead. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah,
And that's that.
So there we go.
And
Have
that's
they made any
that.
legislation?
We are
Yeah. So what are we
2
on to
amendments
now?
away from no 3, 4, 4 amendments away from
5,
so
6.
we can do Amendment 16 really quickly if you want. So
Sure, go
it
ahead.
says
What's Amendment
the
16?
Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. Interesting. So that's the, and when was that? So that was
February
proposed to
3rd,
Congress.
1913.
Yeah, but it was proposed to Congress July 12th of 1909.
Mm-hmm.
So the dates of ratification. So 36 of the 48 states ratified it on February 25th of February 1913. So we had a few stragglers. Massachusetts in 1913, New Hampshire.
Did I
in
hear Biden
1913.
say today that he's going to raise your taxes?
Yes, you did.
Something about him.
He has a right
gonna
right
raise
here,
the
according
tax.
to yeah.
Yes, according to this, he has the right to do that.
Gonna raise your
Yeah.
taxes. Actually, Congress is the one who's supposed to create a budget. So I guess if you don't have a budget, you can spend like a drunken sailor.
He can't raise the taxes by himself. He has to have Congress and Senate pass a bill, and he signs it. You know, he could put I guess he could put a presidential. What do you call them things?
Executive order.
Presidential decree.
Executive order.
Executive order. There you go. Yeah. Okay, we're raising the taxes. This is an executive order because all our presidents lately seem like they think that's legal. They just do it, and it's ridiculous. So, but you know.
Well, they're allowed to do it because the taxpayers allow them to do it. To be honest with you, want to see if that works.
Well, I know.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. It's a executive order. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going now? You want to go on to the Satan clubs?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Satan clubs. What city was this in again?
So
we're gonna talk.
So someone who listens to us in Binghamton, New York area sent me a instant message, and in the main Endwell Elementary School,
which is
now it's not an elementary club, but they're doing it in the elementary school. You know, they're having it after school,
right? But that's a kindergarten.
Session.
It isn't. Oh, it is. They're just doing it in a school. I thought they were actually proposing it to the elementary school itself. So
no, they're just they
that's where
apply to to use the school after hours to meet, and it's a Satan club. And so me and my brother were looking at this, and
All
we're thinking,
hail Hydra.
yeah, hail this. It's stupid,
Yes.
but people are stupid. Okay, that's
People
what
are
people do.
stupid. Yes.
So we looked at it, and the school actually did allow Christian people to come in and use the school. Therefore, when the Satan people, and my feeling is this, somebody who is not a Christian saw that they did the Christian thing, and I don't have any proof of this other than this is what I think. Saw that the Christian thing was in there and said, you know what? Then they should let us have a Satan club. So let's do that and see what they do.
Probably right.
So the school basically said they had three choices, and really only they had two. Because the one choice that they said they had that I don't agree with is they could allow some clubs in and not others. And they can't do that. They would be sued and they would lose if they did that. So they basically had two choices. They could let any club that comes in and meets all the criteria before they get in, because there's some criteria they got to meet before they can actually get in to do this.
Well, I didn't hear about the criteria. What is the criteria?
They didn't say what it was. They just said that there was criteria. They didn't say what it was. They just said there was criteria, and that this club met the criteria.
Apparently, a deity is
so they can either let everybody in who met the criteria that they put forward to use the school, or they'd let nobody in.
Right.
And they chose the latter, and I agree. They got to let them in. I don't agree with them. I think it's a stupid idea to worship something that is very, very, very bad.
Right.
Okay. To do that, you got to be a little bit loose in the brain, and a bad person. So there you go.
So my brother and I were talking about this earlier, and I agree with my brother 100%. The dilemma that we have, because we have been reading the Constitution of the United States. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion, which is what Satan worship is. It's an establishment of a religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition government for a redress of grievance. So you can't pick and choose. Well, only Christians can have a freedom of religion.
But but that's just like me saying I'm gonna create a religion that worships trees, and we're gonna have.
Well, they are out there, just so you know. They do have those. So.
But I'm just saying, it's just ridiculous. It's not. People are making shit up. Like I said, if you're gonna worship Satan, you're a bad person. Period. Satan doesn't do anything good. Anything.
Right. See, but that's the deception and the lie of Satan. That's the deception and lie is like, well, we're doing good for these people over here. So what do you mean we're bad people? You
should come join us in this.
Yeah. So the truth of Christianity is what saves us from the heresy of worshiping Satan, right? So we all are sinners and fall short of the glory of God. Every single one of us. There's not one of us that has been without sin, except for one, and his name was Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was the only one that was perfect, right? And they crucified him to a cross. They beat him and marred him beyond recognition, nailed him to the cross, stuck a spear in his side. He gave up the ghost and died. They buried him in a tomb for 3 days. And oh, by the way, on the third day, he rose from the dead to show that he has victory over sin and death. 100% man, 100% God. And there's not one point in time that he ever emptied himself of his 100% God. From the point in time that conception occurred, where the Holy Spirit went into the womb of Mary and caused the seed to become fertile, that from that point on, that was 100% man and 100% God. So that's the reality of it. And if you choose to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and Lord, then you have salvation. You will spend eternity with God, right? But if the Satan that we talk about is talked about in the book of the Bible, talked about in Ezekiel. He's talked about in Jude. He's talked about in Revelation. He's talked about in Daniel. He is the angel that was forced out of heaven. He fell from heaven to earth, right? And he's doing everything to deceive mankind, to prevent mankind from having a relationship with Jesus Christ. So that's the guy that they're saying, oh, we're going to worship this guy so that we can have a club after school.
Yeah.
So if we explain the clarity of
Right.
this and we say that, look, this is what they're talking about, you can do whatever you want. You have the freedom and you have the right in this country to do whatever you want as long as it's not illegal.
And by the way, these were school kids that were doing this. Okay. They were high schoolers, I believe.
They wanted to start
my advice to
Satan
the
Club?
parents. Yeah, here's my advice to the parents in this district. So you find out when these in the main Endwell school district, you find out when these meetings are because they advertise them.
Right.
That this Satan Club is going to meet and whatever. And you find out where your kid is that night, and you make sure they ain't going to that, thing, the effing thing.
They're not going to the Satan Worship Club. Yeah, exactly.
That
so
thing.
Yeah, that thing.
Anyways. Yeah.
So I was trying to find Wasted Blackbirds. I was trying to find some of the stuff that I wrote down. I told my brother about one thing that we should talk about today, which was the statement that the president of Ukraine made. And he's talking about how if Russia is allowed to continue to fight in Ukraine and win in Ukraine, then the blood of American men and women will be spilled to prevent Russia from succeeding in dominating more of the Eurasian area, to get Russian colonies back, or former Russian countries back into Russia.
But what was put on TikTok or Twitter or whatever the heck that you found that on didn't say that. All it said was that he said
and that's how I brought it up to my brothers.
America's going to have America's boys are going to or children are going to have to spill blood for us to win this war. And that's not what he said. I mean, it is what he said, but he prefaced that with all the stuff Jeff just said. And we found this out by investigating it a little bit. That
there's
basically, and that's what I've been telling people all along is we can't let Russia take Ukraine, because if you think Russia's going to stop at Ukraine, you're freaking crazy. Okay. They got Crimea, and Obama said by and let him do that. Crimea. And Obama said by and let him do that. He didn't do nothing about it. And he said, you know what? It's just a little bit of Ukraine.
Just a minor incursion. It's a minor incursion.
Then when they were going to start, they were building up their forces next to this part of Ukraine. Biden says, well, it depends on if it's a minor incursion or not. And that's my thought to Joe Biden about that.
Oh, double Johnny Cash. Look out, folks.
Double Johnny Cash him.
Close your eyes.
And you know what? It doesn't matter, because he already took Crimea. Now he wants this. And if you think he's done, if he takes this, another year or 2 or 5 or wherever down the road, he's going to try to take something else. And then what are we going to do? You got to stop this guy. And I think there's a lot of ways to stop him, which I'm not going to go into, but there's one way that would stop him for sure. Somebody actually said it. Was it the guy from Florida? Didn't he say it?
No, it was the guy from Georgia. It was what's his name? Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham said it, and I agree with him.
Hey,
Tim Smith is on. Hello, we Putin is a war criminal and should be put to death. Absolutely. Well, that's what I was talking about, Tim, right there. That's where I was heading, down that road.
That's what Lindsey Graham said. There was somebody in Russia needs to take him out. Not recommending anybody, but we should do something. So
and here's the thing. Like I said, I believe that Ukraine should take back Crimea too. The whole freaking thing.
Yeah,
Take it back.
The whole
And,
country of Ukraine should be Ukraine.
And we should support them. And I know we're throwing shit ton of money over there. And there's got to be some insight of what they're spending the money on. You just can't send them dollar bills. You got to send them stuff that they have to use. You know, you just can't send them money. You got to make sure you're getting the stuff.
You know, if they send them money, then they'll get money back as it gets laundered through Ukraine and goes back to the Biden.
Well, the Bidens will get it back for sure, because we know they have dealings with them along with China and Russia. Maybe Biden's getting both from China or from Ukraine and Russia. Who knows? You know,
probably is.
Let's call them
and China,
let's call them
Ukraine, China, and Russia. All three of them, I'm making money off of them. So I'm just a warmonger. So yeah.
And hopefully what we're saying, I hope what we're saying isn't true, but I'm pretty sure it is. And hopefully we're going to find out the truth for sure. Because I don't ever want anybody in our country selling out to somebody else.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that's not the truth, but we got quite a bit of evidence that shows that it probably is. I just got threatened with removal from Facebook for saying take him out. From what you just said on our show, Tim?
Yeah,
from right now.
For saying this, he got threatened to be taken out. There you go.
Oh, we'll probably get thrown off. Thanks a lot, Tim. We'll probably get censored.
Thank you.
And I don't care if we get censored for that. I have no problem with that. You know, my uncle had one of our first shows. My uncle was on here, and he said something about kicking my ass, and they censored him for it. They took him off. So, and he's joking. He's my uncle.
Right.
And first off, he can't. And second off, he was just joking.
They kicked your wife. They kicked your wife off for saying something like that.
They did. They kicked her off for saying what was that one about? For the pedophiles, they should kill them all. That's what she said.
Easy there,
pedophiles. Oh, I'm just saying what someone else said. I didn't say it. Yes, I did. I said it myself because I go with the pedophiles. There's that Charlie Daniels song, and he talks about them. And you take them out in the swamp, tie them to a stump, and let the bugs and the snakes and alligators do the rest. And that's what I believe should happen to those people.
Well,
there's no reason for pedophiles. They ruin children. They do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I told my brother, you got to release them into the public, the general population. Put them in a general population. Yes. Tell them what they do.
With a sign on his back that says, "I'm a pedophile." There you go. See how long that lasts. Yeah.
Yeah. And that came up because we were talking about the Tim
Smith says truth hurts, I guess, but it didn't come up here. It comes up on here. It says
no, it's on ours. Yeah. I can see it on ours. So
how come I can't?
Maybe you just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a little slow. I saw the just got threatened one, but I don't see the other one. I see it down here, but whatever. Anyways. Yeah, but like you said, so someone put it on. Where did you see that, Jeff? Was it TikTok? No, it was because we got rid of TikTok. Was it Twitter?
What?
Did you saw that? About Ukraine guy that said
that was on it was on Instagram. Instagram. Two different places I saw it on Instagram. So, the first place I saw it, I told my brother about it, and he's like, "Where'd you see that? I can't look at it, I can't find it." And then I saw it again. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted it on her Instagram post. The same thing,
Yeah.
But
So Marjorie Taylor Greene was part of this crap. And I don't like her anyways, but this, you know what? This is what our representatives do, and they all do it. Okay. They took this statement, which he actually said, okay,
right,
and put it up, but they don't mention the part that he said, this only happens if this happens. Okay. If this happens, then this happens. And they forgot all about that part. And that just ticks me off. That's just crazy.
But you know what pisses me off about it is you're a podunk president of Ukraine. Yes, your country is getting invaded by your mother country, Russia, but don't be telling the United States what they're going to have to do. It's none of your effing business, right? Whether or not we choose to get involved in the war or not is up to us, not up to some podunk pansy ass Christian.
He wasn't saying that's what we have to do, though. He was saying this is what's going to happen. Okay, he didn't say you have to do this, but according to our NATO ally, if you touch a NATO ally, you're touching us. What does that
Well,
mean?
that's why
That
he
means
launched
if
some
you
rockets into a NATO country, because then he's hoping to get the Americans involved. And he did it,
yeah,
and it's
that's
been
what
proven
happened.
that he did it. It's been
No, it
proven that he
hasn't
did
been
it.
proven that he did. No, it hasn't. No,
Yes, it
hasn't.
has.
Not even a little.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
It was Ukrainian weapons,
Oh,
missiles that went into the adjoining, was it Germany or?
I don't know where you heard
I
that,
forget
Jeff, because I never heard anything like that. Ever heard anything like that. But
yeah, it got hushed up
anyways,
really
this is
quick
what we're
once they
saying.
found it out it was Ukraine. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, like everything else, like who what you guys think about Ugly Witch losing in Chicago? Oh, absolutely. Beetlejuice
easy
is
there,
gone.
big fella.
You gotta love
Beetlejuice is gone. Yes. There you go.
Beetlejuice is gone,
There
baby.
you go.
And who knows
Hey,
who's
the
gonna
reason
win
that they voted her out is
that
because she's a black woman. That's the reason they voted her out.
black lesbian
You got it.
woman. Yeah, so there you go.
Oh,
And
is that what it was?
yeah, nobody
Black
likes a black
lesbian
lesbian woman. Well, we don't like Jean-Claude Van Damme either, so maybe they're right. We don't like black lesbian.
Maybe they're right. Yeah. I don't know. Might as well just totally get us banned from everything tonight. Right? Holy mackerel!
Hey, we're going down the road. We might as well do it. No,
we might
that
as
couldn't
well just
happen
go
fast
balls
enough.
of the wall. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other people that need to go in our country because of this stuff that's going on. I don't know what the other two people running are. One of them is another Democrat for sure. I don't know what the other guy is.
one of them's name is Brandon. One of them's name is Brandon. Let's go.
Yeah,
Brandon.
let's go, Brandon. She's a dumb bitch.
Brandon.
Boy, Tim, you're really trying to get censored, aren't you, brother?
Wow, easy there, big fella. Well, he didn't say anything about her final destination, so I guess that should be fine.
Yeah,
should be fine. Should be fine there, Tim. Should be. Well, they are talking about name calling now, so maybe we should switch to Twitter.
Was that just 3 Democrats, or was one of them a Republican that was running? I don't know.
I don't know who was running,
because I know the one guy is supported by the cops, the other guy is supported by the teachers union. Okay, and I think the guy that was supported by the cops got the most votes, 35%. The other guy got 21, and Beetlejuice got like 17. Tim says not sure. Yeah. So, let me look it up. Well,
I'm looking it up right now.
Do we have another?
You're
looking up
Beetlejuice.
what?
Yeah, Lightfoot. Lighchfoot. About Lightfoot. Chicago mayor election. Lightfoot loses bid. Valleys and Johnson go to runoff. I don't know who Valleys and Johnson are, but
what are their denominations? No, what are their political affiliations? Let's go with that.
Well, the problem is that they don't care because they wanted Lightfoot to win. So political.
Who wanted Lightfoot to win?
The news media did. The results was a resounding defeat that reflected widespread dissatisfaction from voters over handling of crime. Challengers to a political left and right advanced in a runoff.
So one of them's left, one of them's
right. All about. No, it's
call Hannity. He would know. Jeff, you got Hannity on your dial box, don't you? Call him up there. He hates her. He does. He calls her Lori Light. What do you call her? Light something. Lori Lightweight. Lori Lightweight, he calls her.
So Paul Vallis, a former public schools executive, and Brandon Johnson, a county board commissioner. Doesn't say what their political affiliation.
What's his political?
He was a former school executive. It doesn't say their political affiliation. So
what's his name? Paul what? Vallis,
Vallis, Vallas, a former public schools executive, and Brandon Johnson, let's go Brandon, a county board commissioner. So they may all be Democrats. Who knows?
Well, that's what I was thinking at first, but then I wasn't. No, let's see. Paul Vallis. Yeah, he's a Democrat. So I know the other guy's a Democrat for sure.
Brandon.
The teachers union wouldn't support anybody but a Democrat.
Well, I'm guessing Paul Vallis is who the teachers union is supporting because he's a
Paul Vallis is supported by the police. No, he's next teacher something, but he's the one supported by the police and the
He's
Brandon.
a former
Let's Go Brandon
public
guy.
schools executive. He's a former public schools
Yes.
executive. He wasn't
Yes, but he's
supported
the
by
one-
the teachers union.
No,
So what does that tell you?
No, well, tells him that he's a smart guy.
He wants to have school choice.
I've got nothing good to say about the teachers union. So anybody who they don't like, I'm probably going to like, because the teachers union is out of control in this country. And you know me, I'm a union guy, but man, you got to look everything. You got to look everything right down. You got to look at it, what it is. And the teachers union is out of control. And they need to do something about it. My daughter's a teacher too. And
my wife was a teacher in California, and I told my brother what I
Yes.
thought about the teachers union. They suck. So
yeah, well, her union sucked for a different reason than the one nationwide does. They just didn't support her, you know.
they don't support anything. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so we should put the lay the dead horse to rest for the
let's leave the
Mayor
dead horse to the
Lightfoot
rest, yeah.
candidacy.
Yeah, I mean, because
so Brandon Johnson is a progressive candidate for mayor. Brandon Johnson is a progressive.
Yeah, he's a progressive. Yes, that's why the teachers are going after him. Tim says, friend of Fetterman, since his wife left, the ex-mayor and him should hook up. The ex-mayor. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're not really. That's a whole nother story we get into. Whether or not,
except she's the lesbian. Other than that, whatever. But
Fetterman's wife had a couple of kids. Maybe it's her time for
another
coming
story
out of the closet.
that's going on right now. Somebody wants proof of life because they haven't seen him in
the other representatives in the state of Pennsylvania. So he did not have a good showing after he won, and then he was at a Democrat retreat, and he had a incident where they rushed him to the hospital, and they said, well, he didn't really have any problems. He didn't have any stroke issues or anything like that. But then 2 days later, he checks himself into the hospital for depression, and nobody's heard of him since or heard from him since. So
right. Tim says if he hooked up with the Beetlejuice, he would have reason for his depression. Yes, he would. But so anyways,
the Adams family of Pennsylvania doesn't need any help. So
I don't know what's going on with that at all. I mean, I don't know how bad his depression is. My wife has a theory that he either tried to commit suicide and they put him in this depression thing, or he went in as depressed and tried to commit suicide once he was there, which we heard rumors. Last show, Kenny was on here and he said something about, they said he's brain dead. We're not saying he is, and I have no idea. But
we have no idea.
His wife leaving town, I say, is one of two things. First off, she said she left town because the media surrounded her house. Now, I can believe that. You want to get your kids away from that crap. I can believe that. But if he was in there and he needed her to be there every day, if he was depressed and needed her to be there every day, I would not leave. I would keep my kids and I'd hide them from it, but I'd be there every day for my partner. If he was brain dead, I'd leave because I want my kids out of there. Or if he just wasn't depressed, he was just wanted to get out of the way, I would leave because he didn't need me. So I don't know what's going on there. It is funny, and there's been a lot. I mean, our government is so stupid. They hide stuff and they do stuff, and it's just ridiculous that they can't be upfront with what's going on with this stuff. But we will see. And one thing I read that Kenny put out there that I read said something about they're trying to keep him on life support until August 18th, when the governor can pick his own person to fill that spot instead of having a special election. Now, I looked through the Pennsylvania stuff and I couldn't find anything that says that's what happened. All I read in there was the governor chooses. So if anybody has seen anything that's the law, that'd be something we'd like to hear about. So yeah, but yeah, so who knows what's going on there? I hope the best for him, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the people voted him in. The people are stupid, okay, for voting him in because he obviously wasn't up to the job.
Right.
But I don't want anything bad to happen to him because people are stupid.
Yeah,
so
and neither do I. I'm not a big fan of Fetterman. I think he's an idiot. But I would never wish death upon anybody just because they're an idiot, right? Yeah, because
Right.
there's been many times I'm sure that I've been called an idiot, and if that was the case, I'd be dead already. So
yeah. There was a guy on Jesse Waters tonight, and he was saying Jesse Waters is complaining about Fetterman did this to himself and blah blah blah, and he should have did it, and or no, he was saying that the Democratic Party did this to him. No, that's what it was. He was saying the Democratic Party did this to him. They held him up. They put him through it. They did this. And the guy that was on there says, well, I gotta disagree with you. I think he did it to himself. I think his wife did it to him. I think they did it together.
It's kind of like Joe Biden. His wife, his family.
I'll be okay.
Be president.
I'll be okay.
You'll be
and
fine.
The Democratic Party was just listening to him. Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to be okay. And his fake doctor that he had, Biden's son could possibly have a new job. Oh, as the senator in Pennsilvania. Oh, wow, that'd be.
Yeah, there you go. So Hunter Biden could be the sworn-in senator of Pennsylvania. What could possibly go wrong with that? So,
but yeah, I think him and his wife, they messed up. They should have known that this was good. And you look at everything that I've heard about people that have strokes. You gotta, after your stroke, you gotta relax.
Right.
You gotta
years.
rest. You gotta calm down and recover.
No stress. No stress.
He had no time to calm down and recover. And this is what happens if in many cases if you don't do that. Yeah. So this going forward, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I wish him well. I hope he's okay. And we'll just see what happens. I hope that his decisions and the Democratic Party's decisions doesn't cost him his life.
Right.
Anyways, what do we got next? Anything else?
What else were we talking about? We talked about Satan and the school in Endicott. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, Tim, you missed that. School in Endicott has a Satan Club meeting there in Maine Endwell. Maine Endwell has a Satan Club meeting in Maine Endwell. So, yeah, not too far from our home, Tim.
So what else?
What else?
We talked about Lindsey Graham. We talked about the Senator Fetterman, the missing senator. We talk about and we talked about Lori Lightfoot, her losing her reelection bid. I texted you some stuff. Remember what I texted you? Because there's some stuff that I texted you. I thought, we should talk about this. Let's see. You
texted to me? Let me see. Jeffrey. Let's see. Her ignorance. Oh, Elizabeth Vargas. Who is that?
No, that was she was making a statement about Marjorie Taylor Greene and saying how stupid she was. So, but it's kind of funny. So. So then I also posted Benny Johnson on Instagram, the first true thing Karine Jean-Pierre, Jean-Claude Van Damme said, where she said Obama announced that, pardon me, she called President Biden President Obama. President Obama, yeah. So the cat is out of the bag. The real president of the United States currently is not.
And then
Joe
Biden. She goes, wait, it starts laughing.
Barack Hussein Obama is the current president, running a third term in the United States of America.
I heard somebody the other day. They said, and for those people who used to say Barack Hussein Obama. I'm just like, that's my brother.
Oh,
Every time he mentions him, that's what he says.
Well, you know what else? It just reminded me of something else that we didn't really talk about, which was the Chinese Communist Wuhan flu. That was made in a lab
Oh
in
my gosh,
China.
that was our
The
main
news comes
story.
out yesterday that the Chinese Communist Wuhan Wuhan flu
That's
was
a Saturday
made
morning
in China.
cartoon, isn't it?
Wuhan Chew. I don't know, whatever. But it was
Communist
developed in a
Chinese.
lab in China. All right, what's Tim say? My wife told me it was started that the landlord is afraid to evict them because of possible repercussions. Biden's son could possibly have a new job. What are you talking about? Were we talking about something? Yeah, you got your
No, I didn't do that
CCWF
on
up there.
purpose.
I
I
did
didn't
it.
mean to
I
do
did it.
that, actually.
I did.
Oh, you did it? Okay, you're trying to
Yeah,
put Tim up
so
there, and you put me up instead.
yeah,
Okay,
you
put Tim up
popped
there.
up
Go
there
ahead.
really quick. So my wife told me
Yes, there we go.
it was stated that the landlord is afraid to evict them because of possible repercussions. Landlord's afraid to evict who?
Of Fetterman and his wife, Tim? Is that what
Hey,
you're
look
saying?
at Tim in the picture. See, look at that picture of Tim right there. Tim and his is that Tim and his wife in the picture?
Well, let me see. That's
Yeah, that
Tim
looks like
and his
Tim.
wife.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the other two people are. Yeah.
Oh, the Satanic Group in
Tim,
Endwell.
look.
Yes. So
Oh,
it's a
okay.
Satanic Group in Endwell. Yeah, that. But like my brother and I were talking about, the First Amendment covers it, right? It doesn't matter whether you're worshiping Satan, worshiping Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, worshiping the trees. Because my brother said, "Well, some idiot could come up with a tree worship." Well, I'm sorry, Rick, but they
And
already
his two
have.
daughters, he says.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so we agree that they have to do it if they're going to let and they had let a Christian group in there. They have let a Christian group in there, and they're having meetings 10
Right.
times a year. And so then my feeling is these people said, well, if they're going to some idiot, they're going to let Christian groups in there, then we should have a Satan group in there.
have a Satan
You know,
group, yeah.
and what could go
But
wrong
we're
there? Well, I'll tell you
digressing.
what can go wrong
got-
there. Yeah,
We got
you're
sidetracked
going to
from
the
our
Satan
main
group,
story.
yeah, you go into the Satan group and you're a bad person. There you go. So our CCWF, our main story.
Chinese Communist
Chinese
Wuhan
flu.
Conspiracy theorist 100, news media 0.
And why do we call it the Communist Chinese Wuhan flu, Jeff?
Because it was made in China. China.
And in Wuhan. Wuhan, China.
Wuhan. China. It wasn't made in a wet market.
I had many people in the beginning of this bitch to me that I was calling it the Wuhan flu. And the only reason I kept calling it the Wuhan flu, I'm going to tell you this right now, because originally everybody called it the Wuhan flu. Everybody.
Right.
And then China whined and they changed
and the news media
the
kowtowed to China.
The WHO changed it. And people were saying to me, and then Trump, like me, felt like, you know what? Right there, you change it. I'm going to say it all the time now. Wuhan flu, Wuhan flu, Wuhan flu, right. Wuhan flu. Anywhere but China, anywhere but China, anywhere but China.
Anywhere but China. And the great thing is when he was interviewed about it, one of those reporters like, why do you keep calling it the Chinese flu? He's like, because it came from China. It's like
China.
Why did they call it the what are some of the other Malaysian flu or the Spanish flu?
Oh no, the Spanish flu. What was that? The one, the E. coli. What's that one called?
Ebola. The African Ebola.
Yeah, Ebola. The Ebola thing. Because they name it from where it came from. China whines, and we're not going to call it the
place of origin.
China can do this right here, okay?
Anywhere but China.
So anyways, anywhere but China. So anyways, I went off on calling it the Chinese Communist Wuhan flu, and people started bitching at me about it.
Even our sister didn't like that, if you remember correctly. Our sister did not like that.
My sister called me out on it, and I explained to her about all the other flus that were called Spanish flu and whatever. And and so there
swine flu,
and the only reason we changed it is because China whined about it, And why are we
Yeah.
doing what China wants? And I'll tell you why we're doing what China wants, because China owns us
Joe
right
Biden.
now.
Joe Biden.
They own a lot of our people in our government, I think. I don't think it's just Biden. It's quite a few people. But anyways,
I think
so people are bitching at me about
our
this. And I
live
just said,
cast
look,
is
and they're going, and because I said it came from the bird flu. Yeah, it came from birds, didn't it, Tim? Why the birds must be upset about that. But I'm also saying it came from the lab, and people were bitching at me about that. And I go, look, here's what I think. The last 3 SARS viruses all started, according to government, in the wet market in Wuhan, next to the lab
Wuhan lab
who
factory
studies coronaviruses. Okay,
that was doing a
so
chimera gain of
SARS,
function on a coronavirus. So
I'm saying, you know what? Two things. One, if they truly did come from that wet market, why is that freaking thing still open? Close
right.
it. Okay. 2,
It was
because they didn't
it was
close
a
it,
pangolin.
they're just using
Pangolin.
it. They're just using it so that they can keep doing this stuff, and if it gets out, we can blame it on the wet market. Right. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And now I'd like all those people who are bitching at me about that to call me up personally and say, "I'm sorry, Rick, you were right, and I was wrong." But I know that's
every idiot that was saying that you're wrong and we're right, or you need to get the vaccine, or because this is the other thing they discovered: vaccine doesn't work, natural immunity works, masks
natural
don't
immunity works better than the vaccine for sure.
Yeah, than the
There's
vaccine.
No
masks don't work, right? So all the things that they were shutting our government down and shutting our the American people down with actually turned out to be wrong, right? So
here's the thing: me and my brother, in the beginning of this, argued back and forth about this all the time.
Yes, we did.
Because I was like, no, you got to wear a mask, you got to, and this was early on, but eventually, I wasn't afraid to admit I was wrong. Okay,
right?
Masks didn't work. They might have worked,
and they still don't.
Bit,
still don't.
But unless you have an M94. You might as well not be wearing hardly anything at all.
Whatever, yeah.
N95, M95, whatever.
Whatever, yeah. I don't know what it is.
You might as well be doing this. Which, by the way, Jeff saw people doing that going into stores. They said, you got to get a mask. They go like this. You know what?
I was in.
Anyways.
What store was that? It was a blah, blah, blah. It's right down the tip of my tongue. It was a Mexican restaurant. It was I was in there getting dinner for my wife and I walked in, I ordered some food, and the lady goes, sorry, sir, you can't be in here unless you have a mask. I'm like, mother. So I walk out to my truck, I get a mask. This guy comes in right behind me. I got the mask on. He comes in, he starts ordering food. Excuse me, sir, you have to put a mask on. He does this. Okay, I'd like blah, blah, and she let him. I'm like, I walked out to my car because you said I had to have a mask, and this idiot puts his t-shirt over his face, and you're saying, sure, why not? That must be a mask, It's ridiculous.
I think that was one of those times I said to you, Jeff, just put on the damn mask.
You did,
and I apologize now. I probably shouldn't have said that, but
another wonderful thing that my brother did, which I found to be fascinating in this whole mask thing.
Hang on, so Tim said, I believe China is practicing chemical warfare and wet market to see what effect it has on their own people. I wouldn't doubt that at all, Tim.
Maybe,
anyways, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So
we'll come back to that.
In the early days of the Chinese communist Wuhan flu, my brother sends me this picture, right? He's like, hey, I just want to let you know I started dating a woman. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? How did you find a woman? It's like we're in the height of COVID. Where did you find a woman? So he sends me a picture of him and Dulcie
when it was killing everybody.
Him and Dulcie, neither one of them are wearing a mask. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on a second here. You just met a new woman and you're wearing a mask.
She was wonderful enough that if I caught COVID from her, it would have been worth it, okay? That's all I gotta say.
And I have to say, Dulcie, it turned out to be Dulcie. She's a wonderful woman. But it was fascinating to me because my brother was so adamant about wearing masks. And then it turns out that Dulcie was a nurse in, what is it, Brooklyn, New York, at the height of COVID-19, Bronx,
in the Bronx, in
at
the height of
at
COVID.
the height of COVID in New York City, in the Bronx, and he's standing there next to her. Neither one of them are
Well,
wearing.
how's I going to kiss her with a mask on, brother?
Well,
How's I going to kiss her with a mask on?
You
That's all
can't, obviously.
say.
So I found, and like my brother said, he's changed his opinion and he's apologized. And I'm not trying to, make him feel bad, but at the time,
No,
that was
it's
one of
all
the things
funny.
I'm like,
It's
wait
all
a
funny.
minute, what the heck is going on here?
I remember that,
so-
actually. I do remember that. Yeah. So China is practicing chemical warfare in the wet market. I think China is. I don't know if they planned on that getting out.
I
but
think
they used the wet market. They used the wet market
as an excuse
to say that they didn't do anything, and then they like what everybody said. There's no smoking gun, but every time that you follow the clues and it gets somewhere in China has erased the evidence. So what does that tell you?
Right.
It's a lot of circumstantial evidence, but it all points to these idiots over there. And I say idiots, the Chinese government, not the Chinese people. I have nothing against Chinese people. It's their government I don't like.
Yeah. So yes, Tim, Dulcie is a very smart woman,
obviously.
Yes.
Obviously, she picked me.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So what's interesting about this whole wet market theory? I heard this today. It never really dawned on me. They said it came from the wet market for a long period of time. They said it was from a pangolin, right? Which is like it's like a Chinese version of the not the aardvark, but the
pangolin mated with a bat or something like that.
No, what's the armadillo? It's like the Chinese version of the armadillo, a pangolin, right? So here's the dilemma with that statement. A wet market is fish. Pangolin is not a fish. So how do you get a pangolin from a wet market?
Sounds like one though.
I'm just saying.
Well, they have bats in the wet market too. So I don't know.
No, they don't. That's the thing. The bats are in a different market, so the wet market is just fish. So this is the whole dichotomy of the problem.
All the evidence I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so it points to the freaking building next to the Wuhan, the wet market.
Ignore the building next to the wet market. It's got to be the wet market. These are not the droids you're looking for. This is the droid you're looking
over there where the building says SARS virus control center or whatever.
Chinese weapons of warfare, mass destruction. Hey, it's a weapon of mass destruction. Can we send George Bush in there and take it out or what?
There we go. Well, yeah, that'd be good. He's good at that. Finding the weapons of mass destruction or not.
Or not.
But anyways, look at we're an hour and 7 minutes in.
It does. That does lead us back to it does lead us back to the FBI, because the FBI and the CIA were the ones who were telling George Bush, oh yeah, they have weapons of mass destruction. And for a long time, I argued with my brother. They were there, right? And I still think they were. But that's a whole nother story. There was nothing there. They found nothing. So you can't argue the fact that they found nothing when they said that they were there, right?
Right.
And there's
thousands of remember when that first happened, Jeff? I said, when that first happened, I said they better find them, because if they don't, we were wrong going in there. We cannot just go into other countries and start blowing things up because we think something or we say something. They better find it or they were wrong, and they didn't find it, so they were wrong.
Well,
that's
here's another irony of that whole process. When Saddam Hussein was the president of Iraq, you know what wasn't flourishing in Iraq? Terrorism.
No,
because he didn't allow that crap in Iraq. He's like, no, you ain't doing that here. Get the hell out of our country.
You know what else was going on when Saddam Hussein was the president in Iraq?
What's that?
Oil prices were pretty low. Because he wouldn't get into the cartels.
And do you remember what everyone
whatever
said?
Price he wanted to? So
yeah, do you remember?
They said we're going there for oil, and I bitched at him.
Like
I said, you're wrong. Yeah,
right.
No, that definitely wasn't
there for oil. We basically got screwed on that because we got no oil from them. What we're going there.
Tim, I don't think they were there. I think if they were there, there would have been some stories of how they moved them out or where they were, and I've never heard a story that, oh yeah, they were there, but they moved them over.
I
to
told
here
you a story,
when
you just
we
didn't
came to
like
look
it.
for them.
So yeah, I told
Well,
you
you
a
made
story.
it up. That's why.
No, I did. I did not
You're
make
like
it
Tommy
up.
Smothers. You just made it up.
I will
Mom always liked
repeat.
you best.
I will repeat the story in 4 minutes or less. Basically, there was a guy that I heard on some conservative radio station who was a Iraqi National Guard, in the the elite of the guardsmen over there, and he said that during the interim of when they force Americans out after they went to Baghdad with their tanks, and the news media were saying there's nothing to see here, there's no soldiers in the U.S. when there's U.S. tanks circling around the building that they have their cameras running in. When we were kicked out and we left, there was a major earthquake that happened in Syria. Didn't we just hear about an earthquake in Syria recently? So there was a major earthquake that happened in Syria, and the Iraqis were flying sorties from Iraq into Syria for humanitarian purposes, and the suggestion was that they were flying way too many sorties to be taking humanitarian merchandise there. So the idea was that they were taking military weapons of mass destruction out of Iraq into Syria while they were doing their humanitarian causes to help the Syrians during the earthquake. Now, I heard that from a guy who claimed to be an Iraqi Republican guardman, right? So I'm not saying it's true or it's right. That was a story I heard. That was a story I told my brother. So there have been what could be classified as credible stories of how it happened, but nobody investigated it. Nobody's researched it to see if it was right or not. They just said, well, there was no weapons of mass destruction. They didn't find anything, So,
and this is what I say. You found it on one guy said that this is what happened. Okay. And we know how people today, if they want to make money, will say things to make money. Okay. So my feeling is that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah,
you found one guy that said this is what happened. Okay. If it really happened, there'd be more than one guy. I'm sure of it. That's
anyway, yeah. So we should let that go. But that was a story that I heard that I told my brother. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. I thought it was a plausible story, but nobody investigated it. It's kind of like, was there any election fraud?
And maybe people did investigate it. They didn't find anything to go down that road with. I would say, maybe here's the thing too. I say this. I think if something like that comes out, and if one person says this is what happened, someone should look into it until they realize it's either true or this guy's
false.
One of the two.
Or false. Yeah,
but
and I agree. I agree. I'm not arguing for the case because obviously they found no weapons of mass destruction. I argued with my brother about it the whole time, and you realize, look, you can't argue against the fact that they found nothing, right? You can come up with all kinds of theories about maybe what they did with it or what they found or whatnot, but the fact is they're telling us, and what we saw, they found nothing. So there's nothing there. So that being said, we have gone over about 14 minutes, so I don't really mind. I love having this conversation.
Can you hear my music, brother?
I cannot hear your music. So your music is not.
Tim, can you hear my music? Let me know. Say yes, please, or no.
I can tell you that he is not hearing your music. You want me to play something? What's the name of the song you usually play to end this?
Good night now, ladies and gentlemen.
Tim says no. There you go.
No, Tim cannot hear it. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Your music's not playing. Give me a second to see if I can find Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick.
I can hear it in my headphones. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what do you say? There's Chip Chocolate, whatever that is. I don't have any Cheap Trick. So let's see.
How about now? Can you hear it now?
Nothing.
No, you can't hear it now.
Nothing.
That's something we're going to have to work on before the next show. Yep. So good night now, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night now,
of the
ladies
show,
and gentlemen.
it's time to
So
go.
we want to thank you for coming and listening. Thank you for any of those guys that decide to want to watch the show after we're off the air. We want to thank our American soldiers. God bless the American soldiers for standing for the American flag and for fighting for the Constitution of the United States. God bless our police officers and the way that they support and defend our country and our states. And God bless our firefighters and first responders. We really appreciate all of you guys. And we think that you're all amazing. And we thank you for your support and thank you for your sacrifice for all that you do. So there you go.
Yes. Everything my brother said. Thank you, people, for watching us. All one of you. Thank you, Tim, for showing up tonight because you're the only
Thank
one
you,
that's been
Tim.
on tonight.
Thank you, Tim.
We appreciate it. God bless you, brother.
God
and
bless
God bless
you all.
anybody who
God bless
watches
you
us
too.
later on down the road.
All right. God bless
you.